Hi, everyone.
It's been a while.
It's been a really, really long time. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to get in. I know that it's been a really, really long time since we've done anything like this. Almost a year, I'm very embarrassed to say. But life just gets kind of crazy, and we tend to throw ourselves into our work. And when there's a lot of work to do, like we put really ourselves to that and that only. So
Yep.
it's great in some ways, and it's not in others. So yeah, as we have people come in, just make sure that you let us know that you're here and that you can hear us with country internet. Even though since the last time we had a chat, we have gotten way better internet, which is wonderful. So hopefully there won't be too much of a delay.
Especially with us working from home, it's helped a lot. Not to mention other things.
Absolutely.
Video content uploads faster.
It was kind of funny because like when he first, which I do this all the time with him, bless his heart. Whenever he has something he wants to do to improve our lives, I'm always like, we don't need that. Like we're just fine the way that we are. And then I allow myself to enjoy what he's doing for us and realize that it's really been quite the time saver. I was spending like hours trying to upload a video. Now it's like minutes. So.
Or we'd go out to somewhere that might have better internet to try to upload. So that's working out better.
Yeah, we would actually there in some of the Walmarts around, we would find like where the router was, and I would go stand under it with my phone. And I would upload from my phone. So we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But yeah. And let us know if you guys are here in the chat with us. We're excited to have you. We are going to be talking a little bit about a recap of 2024 and what we're looking forward to in 2025.
New Year's resolutions.
The ones I break all. I did make a New Year's resolution and I did break it not a day or two after. But that's what happens, right? Like New Year's resolutions are made on January 1st, and they're made to be broken on January 2nd, and I broke it.
Yes. So, in a good way.
In a good way. I mean, it's definitely a good way for me. But
when something's out there that's at a good price, and you guys can probably figure out a goat, it's hard to pass up. So
always bringing home the goats. So we're talking a little bit about our recap of 2024. Broken resolutions already for 2025, apparently. And just what we kind of hope to gain out of 2025. I'm happy to say that if you've been following our videos, you know that we're getting pretty close to being caught up and current, which always happens around this time of the year, the last couple of years. And then I fall way behind because kidding happens and milking happens, and then we just get very, very occupied. So it is a vicious cycle.
Hello to
Ashley,
my sister.
What's up?
So if you guys don't follow her, she has in the mornings, she goes out and feeds the goats and has videos with them. So it's definitely worth a watch. We usually tune in where we can.
And Peter the rabbit in his escapades.
Yeah.
All of her big fluffy goats that are all getting ready to have babies too. But it is like awfully cold here right now.
Yeah. Snow on the ground, which makes things a little bit harder outside.
Guys, we're going to have a warm up. We're going to get above freezing this weekend, but we're going to get rain. And I'm like, I don't know where the rain's going to go because we probably still have 6 or 7 inches of snow. Maybe. I mean, it's all compacting down though. It was a very light snow, but I don't know. How are things going over there, Ashley? By the way, her name is also Ashley. Yeah. Ashley at Wolfle Goat Farm and Home.
Easy one to remember, right?
So we've been trying to keep. Actually, the snow makes things like much busier. Nothing is as simple as it should be. So
one thing nice though is we started last year, and this year we have it really set up is all the water heaters running.
Yeah.
We had one quit on us, so we quickly grabbed another one because it just helps so much with the watering with the cold. I definitely recommend water heaters. I mean, we work full time, so anything we can save time with, because you were going out breaking ice with poles or anything you could, your hands,
my hands.
Yeah, and those have been hugely helpful, along with what they call a freeze miser. So we discovered that on Facebook. I think it was an advertisement.
Another thing that he bought, I was like, we don't need that because I have 2 hands and I have a pole that I can just beat the ice in with. But it has been
because that allows you to use a hose. If you guys haven't looked one up, even as cold as it gets here, I think last year it was out a couple times in like the negatives, and it still worked fine. It allows you to use a hose, so they're hugely helpful.
So Ashley says, "I'm ready for snow to melt." but these patches of ice are terrible.
Yeah.
I know.
You know
I
firsthand.
know. I had quite the spill in the driveway the other night. I actually pulled like this muscle that runs like right down along your jugular, which
crash.
I've never pulled that muscle, and I never realized how much you use it like at night, like when you're turning over to readjust, because it would wake me up, and it was not fun.
You got
Hello, Mama Burton.
Yeah, Small 72.
Hello, Mo. How are you?
So
then we got Sandy. Hi, Sandy. How are you? I feel like it's been forever since I've seen some of you guys. It kills me how we kind of let things fall by the wayside.
So throw in there how your weather's been lately. Like down south, it seems like they've gotten some cold weather.
We've been swapping a little bit. Like, well, not hopefully soon we'll swap. Not that I wish snow.
I have a coworker that's down like in South Carolina. She's up near New York usually, and she went down there for warmer weather, and it's actually been pretty cold down there. So.
Yeah. It's well, and like I work with lots of people that are in Maine, so they're northeast, and I asked them like, do you guys have any snow on the ground yet? And the ones that I've talked to are like, no, but it is like really, really cold. So they couldn't believe we gotten so much snow, but and we're not used to snow sticking around that long, which is not super fun.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Bruce, how are you? It is. Oh my gosh, I seriously like blast from the past seeing everybody in here.
It's awesome.
Sorry, it has been a lot this week. No, whoa.
We are not in the negatives. That sounds brutal, though. Shoo.
I mean, even our feels likes, we've only been like -2.
Yeah.
Which is, that's the feel like. When the sun comes out, it just feels, it feels almost balmy. It's kind of crazy.
So smoke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that hurts when you go outside when it's that cold a little bit and you expose skin. Do you have a lot of wind with it? The wind chill's what really bad out here with the flat.
How are your hives doing, Bruce, if you're still sticking around? Like,
how many swarms did you get this last year? We haven't talked to Bruce in a while. So
yeah, I've been a little bit of a hermit social media wise.
Well, we saw a lot of things going on. I know you didn't do the homestead conference, but we spoke at a couple. So we've been doing that. And then goat shows picked up.
The goat shows really picked up this year. Probably much to my husband's chagrin because he drives the trailer.
Yeah.
So he was always happy when I'm like, we just have the truck. There's no bucks, so we don't have to separate. And I'm not taking that many. And he would throw up a hallelujah. Praise the Lord. So
we had a couple good trips. So.
Yeah, we did. It like that kind of brings us to 2024. Like we had like a really, really great year. We didn't have the homesteading conference and I'm pretty sure we're probably not going to have it again this year, sadly, just because like it takes so much of a toll on our homestead. And I just find it really hard to go and try to promote homesteading when if someone were to come here, I'd be like, I'm not milking, I'm not doing anything because I'm literally just working on the conference on top of a full-time job and trying to keep the farm kind of running the way that it should. Kind of usually it never works out, but yeah. Oh, look at all these replies coming in. Sam, I'm sorry. I always get it wrong.
What?
Oh, Sam. I called her Mo.
Well, I was going to say.
I'm in Casey, Missouri. Weather is okay at the moment. We still have snow on the ground, around 11 inches.
Ooh.
Coming this weekend.
Coming this weekend.
That's going to hit us on Monday.
Yeah. Is there any snow coming in with it for you guys? Yeah, 11 inches.
Yeah, 11 inches
that's
is a
about
lot.
What we got.
11. Well, the first big snow we got, it was 14 inches. It was like consistently. Now, where we're at, it's really open and windy. We had like snow drifts that were like 2 feet tall. It was pretty ridiculous. 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. That's what cuts.
That's going to be brisk. Yeah.
That is what cuts. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Bees are doing good so far. Maybe 40 swarmed. And it was a slow season. Look at you. Look at you.
Did we get a couple this year?
Because I'm a bad beekeeper and I never give them enough room. And then my own hives split and swarm. And then I'm like, I caught like 10 swarms this year. Yeah. And really, it's like I just recaught my own bees. I let them tell me when they're like, there's too much. There's not enough room. And then I get
honey
more
harvest and stuff.
Patty, my friend, how are you?
See Patty in there.
Yeah, and Willful Goat. Yeah, we did. We showed kind of hard this year,
and so did you. Because usually,
usually you're at the same shows that we are.
My sister Ashley judges, so she goes to a lot of good shows for judging too.
Yeah, which is great. She's a wonderful tool.
And that sort of leads into this upcoming year. You guys have a goat show that
so we did a lot of showing, which I know I do have some videos out about our show season, though I wish I was a little bit more up to date throughout the year. So you're not getting like a recap at the end of the year because I have all of this show video and content that I'm
Mhm.
like, I have to do something with it because I took time to capture it. But we decided like we are driving 2 hours at least in any direction to get it to any type of goat show that is sanctioned for American Dairy Goat Association. So we were like, why don't we just have our own show? So we're doing our own
Yeah.
show. And I don't know how we're going to react to only having to like drag goats like 20 minutes down the
Yeah, you
road.
can go home each night.
I guess, well, it's just a one night show. So,
Yeah.
but it is advantageous.
Yeah.
Advantage. Oh, 1 degree too cold for snow. Yeah. Yeah, it does get too cold, and that's kind of like where we're at right
Yeah.
now. What we're dealing with is the blowover.
Yeah.
And we have had a couple days where it gets warm enough, just enough to let the snow leak out into the roads, and then it drops way down again at night. So then we're
Yeah.
dealing with ice,
Yeah.
which it is what it is. We live here. We know what winters can be like here, just like everybody else, and everywhere where they live. We always know the threats that Mother Nature throws at us. It makes chores so not fun.
So Sandy's gonna put your feet to the fire. How many goats do you have this year?
Do you mean like how many did I buy or how many were born?
So tell how many babies you have right now out there.
Right now I have 7 kids that have hit the ground from November until like today. Last year I got up to I think close to 60. I had like 40 kids born last year. I had 40 to 50 of my own amount in my herd. And then I have 25 does that are bred. Not 25 anymore now, 21 or maybe 19. No, it's 21 because that was including, I actually had 2 goats miscarry this last week, which was such a bummer, but I guess I'll have June babies.
Yeah.
Woo.
Be a little warmer at least.
It will be warmer. So Patty says, I am doing well, getting ready for low 20s at night and been in the 30s. Ugh. I'm telling anytime
everywhere
it gets below,
cold
everywhere is cold. It's either on fire or it's cold. And it's literally like if you look at the news, it's like you're either really, really cold or things are literally burning down. So it's just
at least the burning down's only one spot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They probably don't feel that way. But So Ashley, I believe 115 days out from our show. She's got the countdown, which means I got to get my butt in gear with some more sponsorships, which is okay. I've got names written down. Yeah. All those things that like people take for granted, like even for the conferences, when you share like, thank you to our sponsors, like all the work that goes in to appealing to someone to sponsor. But we like the goat community is just, they're rock stars because they do not mind throwing money at a show, especially the Nigerian dwarf breeders.
The support and stuff.
They want to support, everything which is awesome. Everything does cost money. Yeah. Thumbs up. Yes, please make sure you like the live.
So Bruce, have you gotten all your winterizing done for I imagine he's ahead of the game.
I assume he is, but like what kind of winterizing do you do? Because this is something like all the beekeepers out here like fight over.
Yeah. I trust Bruce.
I was gonna say like I trust Bruce. Yeah, I have fellow beekeepers here that like I'm just me, Bruce. Like I'm real hands off. Like I make lots of mistakes. If they live, it's great. If they don't, it's not. And it just is what it is. But I was like, you just don't care about your bees. I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying to keep 60 goats alive. Like they're doing their own thing, but they're just not the main focus. But I know they're a focus for you. So I'm always interested to see what you're doing over there. Oh my gosh. But some of the things that we're looking forward to in 2025.
Catching a rat. Why don't you share that little fun story today?
I don't want to share that story. So I had a scare in the barn today. I was out there integrating new baby goats in with which was like the cutest thing ever. I was literally just standing there watching the baby goats like run around and jump and be all crazy. And then this gray thing runs out like pretty close to me. I'm like, that is a rabbit. And I look down, I'm like, that is a rat. And when I say that I scream, I don't scream high pitch, but I don't like roar like a dude. So I was like, and the thing stopped, stood up on its back feet, looked at me, and then it's like, and I was torn between pick something up and bludgeon it to it was no longer alive. But then I'm like, rats can be really mean. So like this thing could crawl up my arm and probably tear me up. So Mark and I have known that we've had rat problems basically because of the cameras. And I've been able to see like tunnels coming through like the bedding in our stalls. So I know that mice usually don't tunnel like that. Usually rats do. We actually had a meat chicken in our first batch that like I came in and it was freshly dead. And I picked it up because I was like, well, man, this wasn't here earlier. I wonder what happened. And I picked it up, and things that were on the inside were now on the outside, but they were going down a tunnel. I was like, I bet that a rat killed this chick. This like, because it was a broiler chicken, and it was probably like that big enough to be a struggle, but small enough to still make a rat. A rat could definitely take it down. And pulled it out and was like, oh my gosh, I think I have a rat problem. And I do. Today I finally saw it face to face.
We did proactively order traps. So we do have some. Fortunately, they're bigger traps because we didn't expect a rat that big, but they'll work for it. So
well, it was a big rat. So. And I've had like the rat traps out, not like the open ones, because I'm scared to death my dogs will get in there or my cats.
Use poison for that reason.
And we don't use poison because Rex, our livestock guardian dog, actually was bringing in rats during the summer, like from the field. I just didn't realize that's what they were.
Well, he'll get birds if they fall out.
He'll get baby birds if they fall out. He's gotten raccoons, but he would just bring them up so mangled. I was like, I don't even know what this is. I just know it was a rodent. So like he'll take care of them, but that means that if I poison, that he could possibly ingest that. And anybody has livestock guardian dogs, you know, there's such an investment to like train and get them up to speed that it makes no sense to put them at risk at all.
Bruce had one up there about what he's doing.
Okay, so Bruce says, I do less and less each year. The most important thing is mouse guards, tilt forward, and insulation under the lid. Okay, good to know, because I have people that
tilt on some of ours.
and I've noticed like over time we have mold problems. Like you come out like the next spring and you're like, you weren't leaned like that before, you know. So
I know he says less and less each year, but with getting 40 swarms, I'm sure he's doing more and more each year across just many more
That's
hives.
why you have to do less and less, because you have
spread it out.
You grow every year so much. So that's good, because I have someone who's like, you need to be wrapping those things and doing that. And I'm like, brother, if they don't live through a winter here, like it is.
Ashley, I'm trying to get William to train with a slingshot. Take him out.
Well, if he gets them, we will hire
him. Putting a BB gun in there.
Really, I probably should. It was the middle of the day, Ashley. Like it was around lunchtime. I couldn't
always
believe
come
it.
out when you don't have it handy. That's
I wish I had a baseball bat. I'd just gone to.
Have you guys ever watched those videos? Like in Europe, they seem like they have a bunch of rat problems, and they'll like, because I like watching like hunting and predator videos, and they'll have guys out there with like the thermal where they can see them at night, and like there'll be tons of rats in some of the. Like they have dogs that go out.
They have dogs, but I've also seen them use like ferrets.
That's what
they'll send ferrets down the tunnels after them, and the ferret will run. Well, the ferrets are out of the weasel family.
True.
That they'll run the rats out, and then the dogs are waiting for them. But like they'll lift up whole coops, and the amount of rats that comes out, I'm like, I couldn't even stand close. Like I would just be scared. To death.
Those things have to chew on the livestock at some point, wouldn't they? Get hungry enough.
Yeah.
So.
Hello, Terry. How are you? Terry from Richmond. So a neighbor.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Pine Meadow Hobby Farm has a video out for non-toxic. Okay. I will have to look at that, because I was reading that in a homestead forum too, where they have non-toxic poison. I just always worry. Always worry. And then Mark and I were like, so these traps are technically skunk traps. So they're like long tubes that are completely enclosed. And basically they have to go all the way in at the very end, hit the bait, and there's like a flap in the front that comes down. It's super simple and it very, very functional. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, what do you do with the red? So we're debating on.
We'll take care of it one way or another.
We'll figure it out. Rex is right there. Rex will take care of it. I think June would take, because after that rat came out, when I was out doing my chores, the cats were going psycho on that side of the barn. I don't know if because like I had babies out and there was just a lot more action.
The size of our cats.
My cats. So I don't think my cats could take it.
That'd be like a gladiator battle going on.
But even June was kind of like looking around at the feed barrels really hard. So I do feel like there was something going on back there. But it's like, you know what? I'm not going to come out here, and I don't want to deal with a rat. We're gonna bait the traps tonight. We got 2 of them. So the nice thing about it being kind of enclosed in a tube is I feel like a rat will really not feel too scared to go down after some peanut butter. Weird. Throw some like straw and dirty bedding so that it covers scents. I don't know, guys. Are rats smart as like weasels and raccoons? Because I know like when we go to trap predators here, like we have to be really careful about cover scents, because they're like, if they smell you at all, like they're not going to come to the tribe. At least here, other people I've seen like don't do any of that and they catch whatever they want to catch. But here I'm like, unless I cover really well, like I never catch anything. So
Yeah,
I don't
Bruce
know.
said snow is a great insulator and wind block.
Yeah.
Let them get buried.
That's a
good point.
It is a good point. And I do remember one of the beekeepers, he was like, I'm out wiping off my hives. I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? But we just don't get a whole lot of snow. We get snow every year. It's just not this much. Yeah. So like I was happy to see like all that snow sitting on the very tops.
Low snowfalls the last couple of years.
Yeah, and then it only sticks around for a couple of days. We got all the snow January 4th.
Last year was a milder winter. I felt like.
Yeah.
The year before, was that when we had the Arctic vortex? Remember it got real cold?
Well, yeah, because that was around.
We had a couple of spells.
We've had actually a couple Arctic vortexes. They come down and sit on us for like a week, and then we'll go back up to like the 50s. So we'll have almost 100-degree swing.
Like Sandy's, like the negative 13 to 17.
Yeah, like that one. It was Christmas Eve, and we were negative 30s, and then by New Year's Day it was 45 or 50. So I'm like, we've done like an entire big swing the other direction, which is wonderful to get very, very sick. So you can't do any of your chores.
Yeah.
Or you just get really glad that you've set things up and you have enough of a routine where it doesn't take too much to get through your chores while you are like deathly ill.
Chill out. Come on, Sandy, for the.
I'm sorry, Sandy. What are you?
Did you put that on there?
Okay. It is like for overuse of emojis. That is one thing that Nightbot watches for. So
used 4.
I know 4. I feel like now 6 Sandy
the freedom
is
in our
excess. But 4 should definitely be allowable. I will fix that, Sandy. I promise. You use as many emojis as you want. Oh, spamming the emotes. I'm sorry. Don't be afraid to talk. Just don't use those emojis.
So what else do you have coming up for 2025?
2025. I feel like there's a lot coming up in 2025. I'm probably going to be speaking again at the Bourbon Trail Homestead Festival down in Kentucky. When we left there October, they invited us back before we left, and I'm already starting to talk to them about what they might possibly want. Yeah, they're awesome. It's, a lot of people that are at the helms of these.
Ann was down there, right?
Anna Scott, a farm girl in the making, was down there. A grain-free homestead was there. Those milk guys that said make raw milk again.
Yeah, the raw
make milk raw again.
I don't know their names specifically,
but it's like dairy and deadlifts or milk and deadlifts because they're really into like keeping up. Ruth Ann Zimmerman was there. Yeah. There was John Moody was there. So there were a lot of like nice names in homesteading, which it's amazing though, because those people like Ann and John.
It was a very personable environment.
Yeah, and Ruth
Ann,
like, especially like these speakers that go everywhere, like they were just so personable. They would just come up and talk to you. And, I will talk a lot of times, like you fangirl out about people that you kind of like follow or you really have a lot of respect for, but they just make you feel so at home. You're like, I just feel like I'm talking to a sister or a brother, which is really, really super
And of course,
nice.
Just the information they share. I mean, Ann and everything, Ruth Ann, they just have so much knowledge on so many different topics. I've written books, everything. So,
and it was nice because they come over and nice. We're doing a lot more soaps. So that's probably something in 2025 that we will be doing a lot.
You're expanding things quickly with the soaps, which is nice because
it is good. Anything that you can kind of take from your homestead to produce a little bit of money to come back. I mean, those like 60 goats out there, they don't eat for free. The bill on them right now is kind of crazy, and the amount of hay we're going through because, like I said, with the snow, they're used to getting out and eating their hay in the mornings, foraging for whatever all day long, and then coming back for hay in the evening time. But like I'm haying a lot because they won't come. Those brats won't come out to their water trough. I even tried to draw them out with like old corn stalks from this year that I put up for like livestock fodder to enrich their diets. And then I brought it out and they followed me all the way to the water trough. And half of them came and stayed out for like 5 minutes. And the other half came halfway. And we're like, screw this. We're going back inside. Yeah. So it is what it is. Oh, thank you, Patty. Patty said my soaps are beautiful.
And then she's like, you have such bad actors here for Night Pocket.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I was almost shared Nightbot.
Yeah.
The poo. Oh my gosh. Poo.
Yeah.
There's so much, and straw, going through so
Yeah.
much
Cleaning the
straw
barn.
because and I think Ashley, you mentioned it on your lives in the mornings, like when you're putting straw down about the staph infections, you know, from them sitting in dirty bedding, because some people just don't get it. I'm like, you have to be able to provide them a clean environment, because then they
There's
get sick.
Matt.
Matt.
Ashley makes great soap. She does. I can
Thanks, Matt. Matt, the
I can support
underwriter.
that. Yeah.
Matt is one of my coworkers. Hi, Matt. It's nice to see you in here.
Great
I
guy.
hope that we'll
got to meet him last time I was in the
yeah,
office
he
with
did.
you.
He did. You got
A
to meet my
great
better half.
Fellow beard also. So that makes it extra.
You have to enjoy it when you
nice.
have like that fellowship. There is something bonding about the beard.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I told him the other day, it was this morning. I was like, when was the last time? I'm like, when you didn't have a beard, did you like shave? He's like, yeah.
No,
He's like, and then one day he just stopped, and this is what we got.
Just started growing one day out of the blue.
It's pretty awesome. But yeah, Matt,
Sandy was asking, what do you do with the straw?
Compost. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have a pile out in the field that we compost.
Absolutely.
The
And
tractor loaders come in.
yes. So
with
I don't
the
know if you
forks.
guys, oh yeah, you guys had to have seen that. If you watched a more recent video where we're tearing down a chicken coop with the tractor, that Mark was wonderful and got an attachment to go on the front
Yeah,
of
we
the bucket.
tried the bucket that made it a little trickier.
It made it a little trickier, but like those forks really make it nice to, even though my pack
It's like
isn't
a big
heavy
pitchfork.
enough, it is like a big pitchfork. So sometimes it will scoop, but sometimes it won't. But it's wonderful for breaking up bedding to where it's super easy for me to just toss it in there. So that's been a big lifesaver, because in 14 inches of snow, like I'm not dragging no wheelbarrow across 200 yards of pasture to get to the compost pile.
We did that for years. So
Yeah.
just
And
the forks also, Ashley can go out there, and while she's dumping new compost, she's also turn it.
Yeah,
which is
I can turn it.
really good for the compost.
Yeah, it's
of course,
super
letting it air out.
nice.
I mean, we've used some of that compost now across the gardens, and it's turned out really rich, and nutrients. So
I have to share this. So Ashley's like, sorry, I thought William was just watching. William is our nephew. So he put poo, because he used to do that when he was younger. He'd get in our chats and he would say poo, poo.
I was wondering if that was like
I wondered if Ashley was just talking about
Mark has a sweet beard. There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
has a sweet beard. If she's just talking about all the excess of poo. So it kind of tied in, William. You're all right. Fellowship of the Beard. So Sam's got to go for now. We'll finish the video
thanks
later.
for stopping by, Sam.
Thank you for stopping by, Sam. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, the compost is something we've really integrated into we've added more garden boxes and everything.
Because when we started building garden boxes, we use a lot of hugelkultur in our raised garden beds. But that compost played like a huge part in cutting down costs. We had a really good
garden season.
Yeah, and we really, really have. The last couple of seasons have been very abundant, and it's been wonderful. That compost always also goes into like our in-ground, even though I haven't pulled up the plastic landscape fabric from over top. It's still sitting down there underneath all of the snow. And really, I should have already taken like last year's compost and put it there, because I've already started a different pile. So.
And then we'll typically run our chickens out over it too, and let them
feed them over top of it, let them scratch through.
Yep.
So they do their fair share. Because Mark and I were having a conversation this morning about how I'm very utilitarian. I'm like, it has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't have a purpose, I'm not going to invest a whole lot of time into it, because I have to see some type of output. It's just the person that I am. It's not super fun all the time when I'm like, unless it's a goat, because then sometimes they're not very utilitarian.
Sandy said great ideas. And as you know, Sandy, like if you can make the animals work for you, it just makes it so much easier. Like the chickens going out, like Ashley said, being very utilitarian. But also one thing nice, our anniversary gift this year with the more garden produce that we got a freeze dryer. And honestly, that's also for Ashley's soap business, because I can make
powdered milk. Yeah. So I have some recipes don't call for like water content. And I still want to be able to utilize a lot of the goat's milk that I have, because that's part of like the allure of like the handcrafted product that we're offering, is everything's got goat's milk in it. Yeah. So when things don't require water, like the sugar scrubs, because water literally dissolves sugar. Yeah. Someone asked, why don't you add water? I'm like, because sugar will dissolve in water. Yeah. It just makes it nice to incorporate those benefits without the water content being needed.
Yeah.
Oh, Sandy, I'm telling you, they're worth it.
Mhm.
I know that they can be a little pricey, but they are totally worth it.
Yeah, we need to run ours more,
Yeah.
but we've been very happy with the results on it. We went with was it Harvest Right?
Yeah, we
Drawing a
went with
blank on it.
Harvest Right. We went with
There's
the medium.
another name company. Yeah, we went
Did we
with
go
the
with the
medium.
medium or
They
the
had a sale
large?
on it at the time. I
Yeah.
went back and forth on it and finally took the leap. It helped with the soaps because we do have a business to that, so we can write it off as a
Yeah.
business
It's a
expense.
tool.
But yeah, it can be. It's amazing the things you can freeze dry. Of course, we tried with candy right off the bat,
Amazing.
and they're pretty good.
It's
Even though we're on
amazing.
a diet now, we can't.
Yes.
But like all the garden produce, we've done the zoodles, so zucchini noodles. We've tried those. Those
yeah,
turned out
mostly
well.
because like we are now on a ketogenic
Yeah.
diet. We're
Yeah.
both on keto.
And that's worked out
Which
well for
that's
us.
something that was great for 2024. We started doing that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for everybody. Some people like have a real hard time with it, but
Yeah, we've been
we've
happy
I
with
think
it, though.
we've been okay. I
Don't-
know, not to tout on him, but he's lost 35 pounds and I've lost almost 20 now.
Yeah.
So
We had some good teachers. We went to some
yes,
classes.
we had
to our
some really
church,
good
so.
teachers, but
But-
those zoodles were why we utilize zucchini to make the noodles, because I'm a pasta fiend. I really want spaghetti sometimes, and carbs are apparently quite rife in
Yeah,
in
right,
spaghetti.
pasta.
So I
But,
can't really have that.
Yeah, you can freeze dry. I mean, we've done hamburger,
Mhm.
ground up hamburger, chicken. You can do about anything, honestly.
Yeah, we did jalapenos. We
Yep.
did a lot of our corn, like a lot of the corn that we brought
Now
in.
the
we
jalapenos,
froze.
if you try them just straight freeze dried, man, they are strong.
They're hot.
Basically, anything you freeze dry
Yeah.
becomes concentrated. So yeah, it becomes way more intense. I mean, I don't mind spicy, but man, they are spicy.
In
And they're
moderation.
chalky also.
And,
So,
and
like,
they're
it becomes
chalky, so it's like
like a
it doesn't
powder.
come off of
Yeah,
your teeth
yeah.
quick. So you're like, it's hot and I can't.
But the goat smoke's been wonderful because then Ashley's been able to put it in a jar and store it without
Yeah.
fridge. I mean, that's hugely helpful.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
rehydrates well.
So Patty is in agreement. Chickens are great at going through soil
They
and
are.
compost and getting some of the pests in it. Yes, absolutely.
Did
And they're
Patty get a garden in
nitrates.
this year? We haven't
Yeah.
talked to her.
Well, are you in the middle of moving again, Patty, or have you already moved?
Yeah, because it's been a while. So I know
Yeah.
she was-
Then Patty says, I keep seeing new brands of freeze dryers. Me
Yep.
too. Out there, even a smaller one, tempted but not able to quantify getting one.
Yep.
Well, if you get a good garden in, like after the last couple of years of watching things kind of, which it never really goes to waste. It goes to like the chickens or the ducks or the
Yeah, but
goats.
do we-
But
With our
I
gardens
planted
getting
it
more
for
abundant.
us, you know. So
And our gardens getting more abundant. It was hard to keep up with all the produce coming in, like to use it. So these definitely
everybody does it. That was
it's
the
an
first
easy
thing.
run, yeah. But
And we learned a lot about like cutting Jolly Ranchers into like quarters.
Yeah.
Because they just puff
They-
up
they
in there
do.
and they get really, really
they
messy.
turn into like the size of a baseball.
They do.
pretty
It's
wild.
insane. But then they crumble. Like it
In
turns
your
into
mouth.
dust into your
Yeah.
mouth. It's wonderful. Have you tried freeze dried chili?
No, but we need
I
to.
really want to.
Sandy, we've
Because
seen the recipes.
I have seen people do that, and I'm like,
No,
this
it's
would
so
be
good.
so wonderful to just do this and put it away and not have to worry about it.
Rehydrate with some hot water and you're good to go.
Yes.
Which is basically like MREs.
Yeah,
you know.
it is basically is like having the ability to do an MRE at home.
Yeah.
You're right.
And then they at least Harvest Right, they send you the sealable bags and then the
The
sealer
Mylar
with
bags.
it. Yeah.
So Patty says my big kitchen tool expense was an electric pressure cooker, so
Ooh,
I can
nice.
preserve meat. That's nice. That's
Pressure
nice.
cookers.
Good for you.
You've definitely used ours.
I
but-
have with a lot of poking and prodding from the people that have been in our chat saying I needed to just take the plunge and do the pressure canning, and I've really
You've done chicken.
I've
you've
done deer, I've done all kinds of things in
Yeah,
it,
it turned
and
out well.
it has turned out really, really well.
And patty doesn't taste much better too when you marinate it. It seems like that.
Oh yeah,
the
like
meat
throwing
in
like
it,
salt
oh,
and onions in with like the chicken. I'm like, this is just
it
enough.
permeates through the
It
meat.
really, really does. She says, I already moved, am out in
Oh,
Hillsboro near
nice.
my. That's good. I'm
Your
really glad to
family.
hear that.
That is awesome.
Dude, the Skittles were amazing.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it though with this diet because
Yeah,
I'm like,
we
oh my
enjoyed
God,
this.
they're so good. But that is actually another revenue stream that we can utilize too. So
Yeah.
with doing the soaps, like I do a lot of like the craft shows now and do a lot of participation with those in that way. And I have to really look into the regulations as to for like labeling because everything has to be labeled. Actually, like soap is kind of odd. Like you don't really have to do a whole lot of labeling unless you're making some kind of medical claim.
Yeah.
If I'm going to tell you that it can cure a headache, I have to.
Or like psoriasis or
psoriasis. So
skin
like I can,
conditions,
when
yeah.
people say, will it cure? I'm like, I can't tell you it will cure. I can't put that on the label,
But
or
you
I'm
can,
subject
it has
to like
soothing aloe
inspection.
and
Yeah.
stuff, like the ingredients you can
Yeah, like
explain
there's
what you-
calamine powder that I can put in for like poison ivy. So I'm like, it has calamine powder in it, so it probably would be really good for poison ivy. You know, we're just not allowed to say. The same with the way that the states regulate raw milk in different ways. We're still only licensed for pet consumption quality. And then I had people this year, I was like, you've got to stop talking. Like, you've got to quit telling me what you're using this milk for. Like, I literally cannot know. You can get me in legal trouble. So that was one thing in 2024 that we've struggled with, and we are still struggling with, is trying to find a good insurance policy to cover everything we do on the farm. One of the things that we did do in 2024 is we offered on-farm chicken butchering classes. We did 2. And there's a lot of risk with inviting people onto your property, giving them a sharp instrument, and instructing them on how to dispatch and eviscerate a chicken carcass. Yeah. So we have the stories you get from these things, though, like, they are insane. Yeah. So my sister-in-law jokes with me about a ghost moment, which is they're in here. For some reason, I'm so sorry. It was just funny to me. In hindsight, in the moment, it was very supportive, and I had no problem doing this. But the lady's like, I need you to hold my hand while I'm dispatching the chicken. So I'm literally like behind her, like holding her hand like over the chicken's like jawline, and my other hand is on the other side with the knife, like guy. So like we always joke that we had a ghost moment at one of our chicken butchering classes. But we have had some interesting people out.
Yeah, but at the same point, they're coming to the class because they don't have exposure.
They don't have exposure. So. Our first class, nobody owned chickens. Yeah. Out of the 10 participants, nobody owned chickens, and they were there to learn how to process chickens from coop to freezer. So that, I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that was a great temperature taker for like where people's mindsets are, which like I've always said in the past, like I won't put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm like, people were, you could tell like they're a little uneasy about where their meals were going to come from, and if it came down to it, like, could I feed my family? So that was kind of interesting to watch that dynamic play out.
So Patty said marinating is definitely the best. Yes, definitely. And Patty, do you marinate the fish? I know we haven't done fish before, so it'd be interesting to see if
like what do you do anything different with fish? Because I know that meat is a lot more delicate.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandy says, have you tried adding a slice of bacon in the mason jar? When I didn't do that.
Heard that,
I've heard about you beef bouillon in with the deer.
The bacon would be amazing.
I use beef bacon, but regular bacon works. See, like, where do we get beef bacon here? Can we get it done at Brookfield?
But regular bacon works too.
Yeah, but then whenever someone says something a little different than like what you're used to, I'm like, I want to kind of try that, because on keto I can have whatever meat I want.
Mm-hmm. You definitely have to try it though.
So Spoolstead, how often do you do the butchering classes? I would benefit from one of those, and you are in Indiana too, and that helps. So because of the insurance,
we're trying to
figure out what we can do, because there were some incidents where they didn't have chickens. And I found that a lot of people, sometimes when they come to those classes, they've never really used a knife like in a finessing fashion. Yep. And if you've never really used like a knife just in common like cook work or anything like that, like you don't realize, especially for eviscerating, how sharp it has to be.
We also looked at it as like, maybe if we took out the hands-on section, which stinks. I like learning hands-on, but if it's more of a teaching session where you're watched, that might allow us much easier.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, there are loopholes for everything. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out if maybe we don't do it here and we do it somewhere else.
We try to do it at a convenient price for people to attend, and also they get to take home check. So it's also something like we can't pay a high insurance value for, because it's not like
we lose. Which, that's sad. I know, like, that kind of throws people off when, like, well, just because, but I'm like, literally, I wouldn't raise the chickens this many for my own purposes.
And then this year we lost a couple early on. Remember, you had some issues.
Because I had a brooder issue and then I had a rat problem. Yeah. So,
and then the sawdust. Remember, we
found out. Oh my gosh! So sawdust,
we got a little bit finer sawdust.
We got a finer sawdust, and they were like dropping like flies. I'm like, I do not know what is going on. And I looked it up, and I'm like, the finer the sawdust, the more it gets in there.
And that
It
was because we were
compacts their
getting the
crawl.
sawdust.
Yeah, we were getting it like at a
Really
really
cheap.
good price, and I
so we
just
just
figured
never ran into it before.
I will use it in the chicken
Yeah.
brooder, and
We learned.
we learned the hard way.
Yep.
We learned the hard way. Now that we've
So-
LLC'd and like those things come into play with our farm, like what is the input versus the output? Like we are a lot more considerate about things. Well, especially like for an insurance claim. Like I'm not saying that you would or that I know anybody that would, but you never know who's going to come on your property, like for a class like that, perhaps cut themselves and claim that they got this crazy disease because they were at your processing class. Now we do have them sign a liability waiver, but any really good lawyer is going to get around a liability waiver. So really that's where insurance is the only thing that's going to save you from like bankruptcy or losing your
But then
farm.
you have to weigh the value of it versus
Yeah, you throw away the value of, is this worth it?
Mhm.
I think building community and teaching people life skills is worth its weight in gold. It
'Cause
really
that's
is.
also something we looked at, like maybe offsite that would
Mhm.
protect us as well. Like we're not trying to get away from it completely, but it's just some hurdles.
It is a hurdle. And I know for our first class, we had people drive like 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like they drove a long way to come to the class.
People too.
Yeah, we had some really, really great people. I have people that I
Stay
sell milk
connected
to
with,
now. We're very
Yeah.
connected to them. But we just don't know.
So Patty
We don't
said
know.
for her fish, she only adds salt and then just a little bit. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Just okay, good.
Yep.
Simplicity is the key to most things. So Sandy says, if you have a Safeway or Albertsons, they will have bait. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that.
I'll have to
We
look
used
for
to
it.
have Safeways around all the time.
I don't know
Whatever
if I've been
happened
to
to
one.
them?
I don't know.
We used to have Safeways. I remember them when I was a child going in. Says, I have an unruly rooster that needs to go to the freezer. That is always what.
That's a good place to put him. Yeah, if he's
I'm
causing
telling you
trouble.
what, when they cause problems, they taste better.
Mhm.
You know, that's the
You
way
always
I've
hear
always
the
looked at
stories
it.
of folks like,
It's like-
oh, they just went there.
I know.
wrung its
I'm
neck.
like, that attitude is just seasoning, you know? So Patty says, bacon and venison is what my son does. I haven't canned any myself. I need to next year. I hear it takes the gamey flavor out.
Yeah.
We haven't opened one of those cans because what happened is like a lot of times I can a lot of meat when I start getting close on freezer space so that I can buy more
Did you
time.
put seasoning in with yours?
Mhm,
Yeah.
I did.
That'll help.
What about bacon grease?
What?
Would that
Oh,
do
throw it in
anything
that- that's a
with
good idea.
like, because we always have a ton of bacon grease,
Mhm.
but just out of
That'd
curiosity.
make it nice to cook when it comes out too.
Well,
'cause
wouldn't
of
I?
being
And you
there.
know, like when you can meat anyways, like if it's got any type of like fat content, it all floats to the top and it creates that seal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, bacon would definitely do that. So just out of
We'll have
curiosity.
opportunity this year.
Yeah,
Ashley
out
got
of
a deer.
curiosity.
Couple months ago.
It was opening weekend, so it was the weekend before, 2 weekends before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
It just happened to walk out. It's like I don't have time to come back to these woods, so this is what we were taking. He just happened to be a nice little buck.
Yep.
Yeah, so Patty said, I saw beef bacon at Safeway here and was
I was
like,
like,
what?
what?
I know, because beef in front of bacon
So
doesn't make
Sandy,
sense.
does it taste much different than pork bacon? Does it have like less fat or anything? I wonder. You know how like venison's real lean, so
Yeah.
because
San-
we've known people that done venison bacon.
Yes, we have. They had the pictures to prove it too, that they had done it, which I
Yeah.
was like, well, I didn't know you'd do
Almost
that,
look like
you know?
jerky, though. That's the thing.
Patty, or not Patty, but Sandy says, so agree. People, they really do.
Mhm.
People really are hungry for knowledge. And I think it's a healthy hunger. You know, sometimes people want things just because they
Yeah.
want to do it or say that they did it,
We
but
recently took a DNR class on butchering
yeah, on
a deer.
butchering and
I mean,
processing
we've
a deer.
processed deer and we take it.
Yeah, like we've gutted
to
it, but we often take
process
it
it.
somewhere else. And that also, like everything else, cuts into the value because even though like we do have a really good processor, he only charges $100 a deer.
Yeah.
And it's clean, like it always comes out. It never, I feel like I'm getting my own deer back. I couldn't verify it
Yeah.
because it's a processor, but
We've always felt fair
Yeah.
about. But the one nice thing about too is we were able to ask them questions, and they said for a goat it'd be comparable.
Yeah,
So of course,
because
we have
they're both
plenty of goats,
ruminants,
so.
so they technically have the same. In any like I was interested in it too because of the soap making, that the fat off of it I
Yeah,
could process
the
my own
tallow.
tallow to put into soap, because right now I took all the palm oil out because of how unethical the harvesting is and how expensive it is, because lard has all of the same properties and is much, much cheaper and better for your skin. So I've been using lard, but tallow would be one that I would really like to also incorporate in. So Patty said, I met a couple that farms not far from me and struck up a great conversation. I get to go tour their farm. I'm hoping it will become the place I buy chickens.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That's a great connection.
It is. Well, and just knowing someone too, like that does those things, and
and you know where your food's coming from, the source.
Absolutely,
actually
you know
so
where it's coming from, but also someone that has like that same mindset. Because there's just a lot of people out there that they don't like. We talk about, oh God, what?
Bruce.
I love all fat.
Amen.
I'm
Bruce.
going to bring it down.
That's
to
why I like
Bruce.
keto. I've
all
been eating a lot of fat. So.
For him, this was not a hard diet.
No,
He's like, I
know.
can sit here and kill bacon all day long and I'm fine.
Yeah, it's worked out well.
It kills me. So Sandy does say that she thinks the bacon grease might work. So I might just do like a test run. Yeah. Because we always get like the shoulder shanks or the shoulder, and I don't like
something wonderful.
I might, but I don't like how that meat usually sits on the bone, and I found it's just better to strip it out, and can it, because then the canning does the tenderizing for you. Yeah. So I will have to try that. We'll do like
seems like it gets gamey.
We'll do a trial. Yeah, it does. It does.
Gets real. What do you call that? That this thin silver skin like that.
The silver skin on it is pretty thick.
Oh, tendons.
Yeah. We made that mistake when we processed our first goat. We didn't let it cool down like we probably should have. And the silver skin was just horrendous to get off, because it needs that time to cool down and kind of let those fibers relax.
With the hammer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So. I can always tell when he's making steak, because it sounds like someone's getting bludgeoned to death in here.
All the seasonings off the stove. I start going around.
They all come falling down. He's like, he's like, I just let the ancestral spirit season it for me.
Unfortunately, they fall over the stove instead of on the meat.
Oh, Pam says, I don't know about just the bacon grease, but it might. I wonder if the Rebel Canner would know. She has you know what? She probably would be able to tell us that. You probably. It tastes great. We have a ton of bacon grease. It tastes great. I just don't eat pork, so I wanted. Okay, that makes total sense. Jewish markets. Well, also, that's a good point.
I agree with you with turkey bacon. We've tried it. It's okay. But it just it's not a great alternative.
It's thin. It's papery.
Doesn't have a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it's because like Bruce says, he loves all the fats. That's why turkey bacon is not as good, because you're missing all of the fat. So Patty said, I can't have chickens here, but they grow meat, birds, and eggs along with other things. See, that's really nice. That's really nice. What kind of meat birds do they grow? Do they do like the regular broiler, like the Cornish rock crosses, or are they doing more of like the Freedom Rangers or the Brises or Bressies? I can't remember. BRESSE.
Different varieties of meat birds
which is good, because sustainable talking, which is something we always go over in the class, is like the different type varieties of birds that you can use. We talk about dual purpose, we talk about heritage breeds, and then we talk about,
our lavender orps are big enough though.
The lavender orps are big enough. The Orpingtons are they're a dual purpose breed. So we talk a lot about them, or you've got, the mutations, the monsters, the Frankensteins, the Cornish rock crosses. Yeah. And we talk about why we choose Cornish rock crosses, because of the impact on finance. Yeah. But I could never breed them.
4-H. I mean, that's a big thing too.
With our daughter 4-H with us is a big thing. So she uses them as a project, and then we use them to stock our freezer, which has been a good practice. So turkey fat from Thanksgiving is top tier. Yes, I ask everyone to save it for me.
That's a good point.
Well, that and like you could do like the turkey broth too. If people save their carcasses, and then when you ask people, did you save your turkey carcass? They're like, why? Why would I do that? Yeah. Like, because broth is a thing and it's wonderful. It's
hard with your family though. They're not big turkey eaters.
No, well, and I'm weird in that way too. So like he said, my family didn't do turkey. We usually did like ham or chicken and dumplings or something, or barbecue. We would do like barbecue instead. My grandmother on my mother's side would do it. When she passed away, it was just like we just did whatever.
A lot of people catch it in a tray. Honestly, keep it from dripping in their stove. But
dripping in their stove, and they don't want it soggy up that meat. They want that crisp skin.
So what do you use it for, Bruce? If you don't mind me asking. I wonder what he uses it to flavor with.
Yeah, what do you use it to flavor? Patty says, I was taught to can beef using the oven years ago. Have not done that in years, but it's an old minute. Is that when you put it in there? Someone was telling us they can their deer that way. Yeah. And they put it in the
one
oven.
That exploded the one time?
Yeah, they said they did have one incident where it exploded everywhere, but like that was a one-off. They've done it 100 times since.
They had like one jar that just went bad. And
Yeah.
when it turned into a bomb.
Yeah, it did turn into a bomb. Oh, you report back when they grow. Okay.
There you
That
go.
sounds good. Sorry I have to go. It was lovely to see you both. Have a great night. Thank you,
thanks you,
Sandy, for
Sandy.
stopping
Yeah,
in. It
we
was
won't be
nice
on too
chatting
much
with
longer,
you.
so
Yeah, we're only
we
on for about
appreciate you
another
stopping.
10 minutes. Gotta keep it moving.
Yeah. So
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited for 2025. I know I'm like jumping. I jump.
Yeah.
I get uncomfortable and I'll jump.
Have you shared it that we got the land next year?
Oh
Or
no.
next-
Well, yeah, I
next
have
year,
on a
next
video.
door?
So like we did get more land.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember like years ago, especially like on live, we're like, hey, the neighbors are talking about possibly selling
Oh, he said
like
French
their land
toast,
and
pancakes, the turkey fat. Huh. That sounds
frying
pretty good.
potatoes. I could see that. French toast though, no
And the only
joke.
bad thing is all those are against our diet. But if I cheat, I
If
could
you
definitely
cheat,
go.
you can have. See, I had a cheat day. This one has.
I need to do it for scientific reasons. The
Okay,
taste test.
there you go.
Yep.
Bruce, just make sure your mind has scientific purposes and they need to be fulfilled.
So Terry said we do 30 Cornish and they grow on grass at 3 weeks.
Mhm.
If the temperatures are good, 8 weeks, we have over 110 pounds of.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do
they
here.
really grow out.
As soon as they're feathered out enough, they come out off the brooder, and then we have like a stall in the barn that they're in until I'm like, you guys are good enough. I just hate like that period, like the first couple days when they're just because they're just such dumb birds.
Terry, do you run yours out in a tractor or anything like that? We've done that. And the amazing thing is, and Ashley talks about this in our classes, is the fertilizing they do.
Yeah,
for the
have
yard.
you noticed that like in your tractor? Because like when it's springtime, I can always tell where the tractor's been, or like you can tell like where they were the day before. But like if you follow the track going backwards, it's greener, and then when you're done running them, like the grass is like this much taller in the track. So like we like to kind of leave those.
Darren, I was just talking about you the other day. Are you getting ready for Vegas? Are you going down there this year? I've seen all the videos pop up for
yeah,
SHOT
he's
Show,
been
of course.
binging
So I was like, I wonder
all
if
the
Darren's
videos.
going down there.
He's
and
been
I'm still
binging
jealous.
all
I
of
know
them.
it's for you, it's work, but still jealous.
Marky's like, I wish that was my.
I know. Gosh, so we need more.
Bruce says we're
content.
never going to go back if we try that.
What's that?
The turkey.
I
turkey
believe
fat.
him. I believe him because I believe in Bruce saying that I love all
we
fat.
believe in you, Bruce.
I believe in that
you.
statement of I love all fat. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so Terry says we do use the chicken tractor. I think it's crazy because like when people come out for the classes, I'm like, look, this is why these guys are so good to
they
like
feed
run
them
in
on themselves.
pastures.
I mean, even when we don't feed them before butchering class, it's amazing how much grass we'll find in their gizzards.
The crops.
Yeah.
Well, I almost sometimes want to leave one on feed just to show them like this is why it's important to fast your birds. It won't ruin it, but it'll make it very. You really don't. Yeah, they eat dirt. Like that's all
they
they
come
did was
hangry.
Dirt.
That's for sure.
That's so that they ensure that they're not cute the day of.
Yeah.
They're miniature dinosaurs that literally need to be put out.
Off your fingers.
The last week or two that we're feeding them, even though they're on grass, like we do give them like supplemental grain like in the morning. But like by the next day, like they're attacking your hands where I'm like, dude, you were moved like 3 times on new grass yesterday. Yeah. Like you are not getting
Terry
any more.
said they noticed the path too.
It's crazy.
It is. It just really shows how much fertilizer they're producing back out.
Well, it's the nitrates where people like when we run them in our gardens and we have them till up a lot of the old garden is for that nitrate. Yeah. It is so important. And people will plant things like corn will suck nitrates. So you have all these people that grow corn and we're in a heavy agriculture community. So like we know they run soybeans behind corn because soybeans replenish nitrates that the corn just really sucks out of the soil. But we've told people like, you know, when you take something out of the soil, like something has to be put back into it or that nutrient is just gone. And literally like running hogs and running chickens in that place, it works for you, you know, like I get all excited about regenerative ag in that way because I'm like, if you would just use these animals and these creations that are already here to do what they're supposed to do naturally, like it makes your job so much easier. And it's just freaking cool to watch the science of the nitrates making the grass grow like that much taller in the same amount of time than the other grass. Like it's insane.
So Darren's heading to Vegas on Saturday. I'm sure me and Ashley were talking too.
How cold is it there?
I was going to say,
now?
Is that a big temperature swing for you too? Because I'm sure Vegas is warmer. I mean, right now southern states are
Yeah,
a lot cold,
and
but
the reason we're asking is we know that Darren is from the Great White North.
Yeah.
He's from Canada.
I'm sure he's got more snow than we do, probably.
I
Although I
know.
may
We
be
were
wrong.
talking because you came up the other day too because we were talking about the Highland cows.
Yeah.
So we were
So,
talking about the hairy
anytime
coos.
Highland cattle come up,
It's you.
it's yep.
It's you, Darren.
Darren and Brigitte.
I
Anytime
still
their name
could
come
not
up,
stop because I couldn't stop thinking about it the other day. Like when you did your video in your onesie, like your pajamas, and you slip like going into the chick, and you're like, "Whoa!"
But you suffered
Like,
karma because she slipped in a driveway.
I
and
slipped
fell,
and
so
I
that's
really hurt
pretty- yeah.
myself. So I don't want to bring it up too
You said
much.
wild turkey, basically. Not it's enjoying
That sounds nice.
one way
Yeah,
to make it through the
that
cold.
sounds nice.
Yeah.
But then you were doing the human compost where that board fell. Was that planned? Because I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that's perfect timing. I'm like,
Yeah.
but like if you did that for comedic relief, I'm like,
Yeah.
kudos to you for going out of your way to make it so funny. Cause like I died.
Yeah.
I died.
Patty said corn is a beast of a nutrient vacuum. It really is. I mean, when we moved on this property, it
yeah.
was so nutrient depleted from the
Yeah.
cornfields that were behind it. And like we moved our garden around thinking, oh, it was because we were in a bad spot. And
It was just literally what
Yeah,
the land had
soil had
endured
been
for years prior to us
tortured
getting here.
basically. By
Yeah,
corn.
it was. And then finally, when we did move our in-ground garden, for those of you that are
Yeah.
probably new, and because I didn't do a whole lot of garden videos last year, we did move our in-ground garden kind of into the goat pen, fortified so that goats cannot get into it for the most
growing
part
season.
during the growing season, because like they literally were just already amending
Yeah.
the soil there. It's a very nutrient dense portion of our
And
land.
we've had by far our best corn.
It keeps
getting better each year.
I'm telling you, we really struggled with corn for years. Like it would get to knee high and it would tassel out, and we would never get anything from it, nothing.
Yeah.
And when we put it in the area where the goats had ran for years and years in the soil, and we started to amend the soils and run the chickens over it,
Yeah.
but we learned slow.
I mean,
Like we learned
pretty much every seed we put in the ground. I mean, we didn't really have to reseed much.
Yeah,
And thank God we had the harvest right because we had so much corn. We have a ton of
we
freeze-dried
could
corn
not
right now.
give it away. Like
Yeah.
I was like, we have so much corn.
Yeah, it was just coming in too fast. So that freeze drying corn is actually really
Yeah.
easy, which is nice too. Patty said it's 56 in Vegas
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh.
And then Darren said it's too funny when we head to Vegas, we walk around t-shirts and the locals.
Yeah, because probably like
Yeah, the
56,
difference-
they're like,
yeah.
oh my God, it's so cold.
It's a cold,
56 here right
cold
now
spell.
would be so
nice.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That compost toilet was not planned at all. It was so perfect, Darren. Like, because I thought I laughed so hard. I'm like,
Yeah.
that either was just perfect timing, or he really set that up to be great. And I'm like, which kudos to you for being so dedicated to our comedic relief. But
Mhm.
either way, it was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh, so Patty said that crop
Crop.
was one of the big ones that sold salt-based nitrogen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It really was.
And like I was reading too, like the way that their root systems work for corn. I was actually just watching a video. Mark watches gun videos, and I'm over here looking at like the rooting systems of corn and like how far down it usually goes.
Yeah, but, I mean,
And like
go
how
for
it is so temperamental. And like you look at like the basic structure and the nutrient beast that it is. I'm like, it is amazing that corn grows, but then you start looking at like all the things that have been done to make sure that it does grow and all that, and where it's like it's a little mutant out there now. So like we really try to grow like ours
And
from
it's so
from good
heavily
seed.
relied on now by farmers. I mean,
Well,
here you go by, it's mainly cornfields. I mean,
and
we've seen a little bit more wheat.
a lot of it is livestock corn.
Yeah.
A lot of it is livestock corn, which even when you go into the nutrient benefits of like corn, like tons of people are like, don't feed them just corn. Because a lot of people when they first start, I'll be like, I feed them all the crack corn they want. I'm like, there's like no nutritional value in this. Like
Yeah.
it can be very energy dense, but like nutritional value, like
You're not getting much out of it,
nothing's coming out of that.
which is funny because it pulls so many nutrients out of the
Yeah,
ground.
it
You'd
pulls
think-
all those
it's just
nutrients and it
weird-
offers
yeah.
nothing back. It's very, very odd.
Yeah.
We also got rid of all animals but the cows, so we might be able to head south. That would be wonderful.
Nice. If you do, let us know.
Yes,
We'd love to meet up.
we would really, really.
Even
love
if
to
we
do
have to travel a little bit to meet up with you, we can
Yeah,
definitely
you're
work
worth
out.
it. We're
Yeah,
hermits and
we'll
we
meet
don't like to
somewhere at
drive. Well,
least.
he likes to drive. I
Yeah,
don't like to
Linda
drive.
does.
But for you guys, we would totally travel.
Yep.
We would totally travel.
But with that, you want to start wrapping up?
Yeah,
It's
we
about
are
8
going to
o'clock.
wrap up. It's right at 8 o'clock. I'm so sad because Darren,
But
like, oh,
It's exciting to
Darren
see everybody.
Rasheed.
We missed everybody.
Yes,
That's
and
on.
I'm
We were
hoping.
looking forward to
I know I
this.
put out like a pesky little poll and asked you guys what day worked best, and everybody said Wednesday. So here we are on a
Yeah.
Thursday because I know how to read polls. But life is stop.
What does everybody want? Okay, well, I'm going to do something
it
different.
was like literally for the yes. Thursday was the least voted for.
Yeah.
But we're only doing it today because like Joe had to go to her cousins yesterday, and I just felt like we'd be kind of pushed. I don't know if we're going to stick to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.,
Yeah.
but I really want to start doing this every week again.
Yeah, because right now,
Yeah.
I mean, with the weather and
With
stuff.
the weather, I can't promise you like when spring starts and
Yeah,
kids
we
start
miss
hitting the
everybody.
ground.
I mean,
And we
it's so nice
do
catching up.
miss everybody. Like that really, I was talking to him and like, man, I've had actually a lot of growth here lately on the channel. And I'm like, I just don't feel a connection like I used to feel. Like I used to, people I forget, I've started forgetting names where I'm like, I know this name, but it's just not, it's not coming
Mhm.
through. So I really want to right that wrong and
Yeah.
go back to kind of our roots with doing lives more often because we really
Yeah.
enjoy talking to everybody. We've missed everybody
Yeah.
so much.
So missed Matt, Patty, my sister, Darren, all you guys.
And
we
yeah.
are looking forward to this stuff.
Matthew.
Yeah. So get out of it.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
opposite day, Ashley. But it might be Wednesday. So just
Yep.
keep an eye out on our community posts about whether we do Wednesdays or Thursdays. So try to keep it 7 or 8 p.m.
Yep.
But guys, we hope that you enjoyed spending time with us. We always enjoy spending time with you so very much, even though we don't get to do this very often. But we hope that you guys are all staying healthy out there and being kind to one another. We will catch you all in the next one.
Good night. Be
God
blessed.
bless you guys. Bye.